You have entered the retro realm. You are in the Game Master's Den.
Tonight's episode, The Ghost of MoonRicket Bridge. But first, class training filler. Hello there, and welcome back to the Game Master's Den. Now that you have seen an example of a straightforward module being played, I think it's important to explain some things.
Welcome to my first filler quest in nearly 20 years. Back in the 90s, when I would run Dungeons & Dragons campaigns, I would never simply allow my players to level up when they earned enough experience points. When player characters in my campaigns reach enough experience to level up, they need to train their abilities. If I was feeling lazy, I would then have them roll a die. Usually, the die is a D4 or D6. They would determine the number, and that many weeks later they would level up. During that time, they train in their class, work a profession, devote themselves to their skills, etc. If I wasn't feeling as lazy, I would ask them to roll a few dice with me, and roleplay how they level up. If through that first session, I felt like they neglected a backstory, I would force them to do a quest to add backstory before they level up. I would always award 0 experience for doing this. The gear and gold is also trivial as well. These tasks are very minimal and are simply for role-playing. They can add new non-player characters and add interesting story elements. Nothing in this quest should ever kill the player character, although they could be beaten senseless. The players, having just finished the funnel adventure, the portal under the stars, have returned to Fernhome Village. I am now going to roleplay the party reactions. Grindo Grinleads, the halfling Dyer, speaks.
That place was dangerous and scary. I am done with this adventuring. I'm going to settle down here, and use my share of the treasure to live better.
He then takes 5 of the crystals and a pile of copper coins as he walks towards the halfling ghetto in the north section of the village.
Look, I could stay here in the village if you need me. I'm not going through some forest looking for drides. I have a shop to run, and a wee doggy to go feed. These armors I have, well, I could hold on to them and sell them back to you folks. That is, until Trader Murphy comes to town. Regardless, my friends, if you need a barrel made or some metal equipment bent into shape, I'm your man. Until then, I'll be seeing you around the village.
He then takes his equipment and 4 pool crystals before leaving. Baldric starts walking towards the western part of the village, where the craftsmen live. It seems those two had no stomach for adventure and riches. Cloris the Medicant and Wando Garfoot are not so easily dissuaded.
As you could tell from our friend Grindo, most halflings are simple folk. We don't enjoy exploring, combat or adventure very much. We like things quiet. I've had enough of this quiet life. Cloris, when you're ready to explore or something else exciting, don't forget to come find me. Until then, I'll be tending to my garden, fishing, and trying to enjoy the comforts of this life.
Cloris, the mendicant, returns to his hovel. Cloris, home is simply described as a dusty small room with a cot. It was given to him by the temple for charitable reasons. Cloris, as a child, was a ward of the local temple monks and thus raised quite meagerly. Cloris relaxes on the dirt floor of his room. His body sprawled out, he reveals his spoils from the previous quest before nodding off to slumber. Cloris plans tomorrow to seek out his adoptive father, Holy Father Elias. Then, he will inquire about the origins of the riches he's acquired. Cloris also wants to find a mentor to teach him the way of the warrior. When Murphy visits the village again, Cloris wants to pawn some junk treasure for silver coins. Now that we have established the backstory and motivation of the story, it is important that I explain how my variation on Mythic works. Mythic is a Game Master emulator that can be used to also play some player characters as NPCs as well. My version is based on one-page Mythic. I ask a yes/no question. I establish what the difficulty is, 50-50, likely or unlikeliness. Roll a d20 and consult my chart I made for the results. On a rolled 20 you have an extreme type of yes, on a rolled 1 you get a definitive no. If a 19 is rolled, it's a yes, and a random event occurs. Then, roll a word on the Discover Meaning table to describe it. If a 2 is rolled, it's a no, and a random event occurs. Then, roll a word on the Discover Meaning table to describe it. These events aren't necessarily good or bad based on the 19 or 2 rolled. The deciding factor if an event is positive, negative, or neutral is the meaning rolled. If we just want a description of something, we ask about the appearance of the room or person, item, etc. This is just a Discover Meaning roll. When you do have a random event, if you roll character, PC, or NPC, you then consult your characters list and roll on that for which character is the focus other than player. If you roll something that would move a thread or event or something of the like, roll a dice and consult the threads list. That's everything I essentially do to play with Mythic. I use other mechanics, but I will explain them as they come up. You awaken to the morning's first rays, determined to uncover the secrets of your treasures.
I will walk to the temple and search for Father Elias. Is he there?
You walk to the temple, on the east side of the village. When you arrive, you are greeted by the scent of burnt cinnamon spice incense. You walk in the large open temple main room and find Father Elias' quarters. Father Elias is currently giving advice to a disciple. When Father Elias sees you, he pauses. He then kindly ushers away the young monk, before bidding you to enter his meager quarters.
My father, I have just returned from a truly dangerous place filled with traps. I found this orb, and there was a vision in the orb of an odd creature asking for assistance. The creature promised us wealth and power for helping it. Do you know anything about this item? Please, Father. I need to know its intentions.
My son, magic in this world is a truly wondrous thing. The magics of miracles and those of sorcerers are often quite alien to another. I don't know anything of this magic device. You might have better luck inquiring at the local tavern or ask Murphy when he visits.
Judge's note. Normally I roll the reaction or description of an NPC when they first arrive. This time, I wanted him to be as helpful as possible and kind to his son who almost died. That softens the fact that 12 villagers lost their lives for this bauble. Cloris then walks through the town towards the inn. While walking through the dusty streets of Fernholm, Cloris is looking for someone who appears like they could wield a blade and fight well. Does he see anyone? Let us find out now. You are walking casually towards the tavern. Suddenly you witness the crashing of two bodies hitting the flagstones. The two men's bodies then compose themselves as they quickly run away. Just then, you see the thin, agile, young-looking elf lady who quickly dispatched the two filthy, shabby-looking thugs. The thugs were running away after she has already taken their pouches. She laughs and taunts them as they flee into the distance. She seems to be the most capable blade you've seen possibly in your entire life. The elf woman spots you staring at her, after bold actions. She spits away from the two of you before sheathing her blades, then walks over towards you. Her footsteps are as if she is floating above the ground. This elf's grace is only exceeded by her predatory ferocity.
Hey you. Yeah, tough guy. I see you looking at me. What's it to you? Stop gawking. You act like you've never seen an elven dervish before. Oh wait, I recognize you. You're one of those four that came out of the ruins in a haste. You must be brave or foolish to have gone in those ruins. My brother Faradim was the falconer that accompanied your group into the ruins. When my brother's falcon returned to our home, I immediately knew he stepped through the portal like a fool.
Ask her about training to be a warrior. Would you please teach me to be a warrior?
I don't want to train someone if they're just going to get themselves killed. I will only teach you to be a warrior if you can pay me. Even then, you owe me a task. There's a promise I made, that I need a warrior's help to keep. I need 18 silver to cover your expenses for the month. It's going to take at least 3 weeks to rush you through all this. After your training is completed, we will get you sorted with your equipment. You don't even have a buckler. Every beginner needs some sort of shield for protection. I'll explain the matter of my promise once you prove to me you're a warrior.
You both go to her cabin on the edge of the forest northeast of the village. The seaside and cliffs just a few miles away sometimes bring in gulls from the shoreline. For the next month you train tirelessly with your new mentor. Learning different sword techniques and how to fight hand to hand, dirty, raw and brutally. You learn the ferocity of your teacher's attacks and the cunning she uses to hunt game. One night, she tells you something that chills your bones.
There's an old legend of a covered bridge out over Lost Creek. And the legend tells it's a haunted place. The old folks say that a traveler, bound to meet his sweetheart over in the next hollow, met a gang of robbers on that bridge. The robbers cut the traveler's throat, stole all he had, and threw his body in the creek. Now, that poor man's restless soul haunts the bridge, terrifying anyone unlucky enough to try and cross it after dark. Those that do, see him appear, pointing angrily at them as he is about to take misplaced revenge on them for his death. I hear some locals posted a reward for anyone who could drive the ghost off, but nobody ever claimed it. I made a promise to the village elder that I would stop this problem.
You train for a month with your elf mentor. In that time you tirelessly learn the ways of combat. You learn her name is Anastriana. She is 120 years old, a young adult in elf years. Her and her brother lived in the cabin you've been training at until the recent events. While training, she introduces you to Marta, another apostate living outside of society. Marta is a devout worshipper of an obscure moon goddess. Your knowledge of the temple understands that while her goddess is no harm to your family order, her beliefs are not aligned with those of the villagers. One evening, you are told to meet Wando, Anastriana, and Marta at the cursed bridge north of the village. When you arrive, the tale of the ghost of MoonRicket Bridge recites in your head, reviewing what you have heard. There's an old legend of a covered bridge out over Lost Creek, and the legend tells it's a haunted place. The old folks say that a traveler, bound to meet his sweetheart over in the next hollow, met a gang of robbers on that bridge. The robbers cut the traveler's throat, stole all he had, and threw his body in the creek. Now, that poor man's restless soul haunts the bridge, terrifying anyone unlucky enough to try and cross it after dark. Those that do, see him appear, pointing angrily at them as he is about to take misplaced revenge on them for his death. The local baron posted a reward for anyone who could drive the ghost off, but nobody ever claimed it. Anastriana made a promise to rid the village of the ghost once and for all. You agreed she would train you to be a warrior, and as part of your final training, you and your friends will complete this task. Anastriana is coming with you in case something goes wrong. Marta's order is against unnatural creatures, and her vow is to hunt them. She believes in order and balance, and thus is your ally tonight. MoonRicket Bridge is a covered bridge that crosses a wild mountain stream. The clapboard-sided and split-shingled roofed bridge's paint is long faded, and the bare wood beneath is visible in many places. The bridge is 40 foot long and 20 wide, and stands 4 above the creek below. The creek is steep-sided and littered with river rocks. White water crashes down the creek, filling the air with noise. Shadows collect in the eaves of the bridge. The cries of hoot owls echo through the bridge's empty interior. The roaring creek sounds sinister. It sounds almost like a wild animal growling in the darkness.
All right, we have the party together. I will be controlling Chloris and act as the party leader. I'll take the lead and approach the bridge slowly.
The air grows chill, and a cold wind blows across your skin. The ghost manifests as a glowing, yet solid-seeming human male in his early 20s. The ghost's disheveled and distraught appearance sickens your heart. The ghost is washed of all color, making it impossible to determine the color of his skin, hair, or exact clothes in life. A jagged wound crosses the ghost's throat, weeping watery blood that drifts about the spirit's head like a gruesome halo. Maker will save or flee the bridge. The sight of the ghost strikes fear in the hearts of everyone except Chloris. Standing firm and unshaken, Chloris gazes at the spectre.
I'm going to calmly approach the ghost and yell at it. Foul entity, I have been sent by the village to stop you from hurting people. If you do not stop haunting this bridge, we won't have any choice but to end you.
As you approach shouting, you notice the ghost extend its right hand. It is raising it slowly with the index finger outstretched. The ghost points downstream of the covered bridge, then slowly turns its arm towards Cloris. It then opens its hand, palm up, and turns its arm back downstream. Thick-looking red-black blood continues to ooze from the ghost's gaping throat wound.
Okay, I think I get it. The ghost is pointing at someone or something downstream. Okay, I'm going to relay everything to the group and come up with a plan.
The other members of the group are visibly shaken by the experience. After you tell them what's going on, they calm down significantly. After approximately 5 more minutes pass, your group is now together and unshaken. You begin searching downstream.
Okay, we have the general area and direction. We are walking in the correct direction along the edge, near the river. Do we find anyone or anything?
Searching along the edge of the steeped banks seems fruitless. After searching for over an hour, you've all but given up hope. As you tire and bore of searching, Wando notices something in the water. A pile of waterborne debris collected on a stony ledge along one of the creek's many bends. That pile of debris could be the place the ghost is pointing towards.
All right, let's get in the water and inspect this pile of debris. I'm going to carefully climb down into the water. Everyone is going to get in the water and search the debris.
The rocks are covered in slime and algae. As you descend the rocks into the water, Wando loses his footing. As Wando loses his footing, he bruises his leg, tripping into the rocks. Take 1 point of damage. Your closer inspection of the old branches and reeds reveals that the pile partially obscures the mouth of a riverbank cave. The cave leads deeper into the rocky bank. You see the cave mouth. It has a low 2-foot-high ceiling, but a 4-wide mouth. The slimy stony tunnel leads into darkness. Make an intelligence check. Marta notices a single 12-inch long footprint with long, spindly toes partway down the tunnel.
Everyone, watch out. Be on your guard. I think there's some kind of monsters down this tunnel.
It's a 2-foot-tall opening. While that doesn't leave much room for clearance. Well, I'm hoping it gets bigger when we go in there. Wando, please, if you are not willing to take the lead, I could. I'm going to use the solo mythic system and ask the judge. Will Wando explore the tunnel? If I could get Marta to possibly bless him, or the party perhaps. 2 questions. I'm asking Marta, before we enter, would you please bless Wando and or the party? Then regardless of the outcome of the first question. Asking Wando, I usually do this, but could you please lead us inside?
You ask Marta to bless Wando if he goes in, and she agrees. When you ask Wando to take the lead, he feels insulted and hides behind Marta. Wando is standing just out of your reach. You reluctantly agree take the lead, with Marta following behind. Marta spends the next 10 minutes preparing a bless ritual that should last at least 10 to 20 minutes duration after it is cast. Marta targets Cloris with her bless. Marta rolls a spell check for disapproval at +1 for the ritual. Marta finishes an elaborate rite. Holding her staff aloft and chanting to her goddess, she invokes her protection. Deep inside his heart, Cloris feels the glowing divine energy flow through him. Unfortunately, as soon as he feels the divine light, that energy fades into the void.
Oh no, it looks like I won't be able to do anything. I'm not doing any more miracles until you need healing. I made a promise to Anastriana to heal you and protect you. When I do a ritual and still something bad like that happens, I need to take it easy for a while.
All right, I'll cautiously lead. I'm forced to put my buckler away and use my lantern to see. I'll have to crouch, and so will Marta. At least Wando won't be having trouble fitting in this tunnel.
A rocky, mudded floor cave lies buried in the riverbank a short distance from the rushing creek. The air is damp and smells of river mud and slimy flesh. A trio of log-sized shapes squirm about the roughly 20-foot square space. The creatures' stubby legs moving their striped red and black bodies to face you. Gaping mouths open wide in anticipation of a new meal. The den has a low 4-foot ceiling, making actions difficult for any race other than dwarfs or halflings. Tall PCs suffer a -1d penalty to attack rolls, and the salamanders gain a +2 bonus to melee attacks against those characters.
Hey there. As you can see, I didn't do any mighty deeds with the warrior in combat. This was because I didn't feel the need to this time. Near the end of combat I could have, but seen it as overkill. There are times I could have burned luck also, but neglected to. This was not out of a lack of ability or knowledge. It was my own overconfidence and hubris.
The muddy cave contains only old animal bones, driftwood, and similar waterborne debris. Your examination of the walls reveals high water marks, indicating the space floods from time to time. At the rear of the cave is another small tunnel leading 5 foot further into another, smaller cave. At the end of the short tunnel is a small cave measuring about 10 foot square. The entire floor of the grotto is covered in thick, wet mud. Judging from the ends of the fallen branches you see sticking out of the stinking stuff, the layer is a few feet deep. Make an intelligence check. Wando prods the mud looking around and notices something submerged. There is a skeleton, though only partially intact. The skeleton is missing its skull and right leg. Mud and aged-stiffened old traveling garments hold the rest of the bones together. Wando has a lucky compulsion. Searching the crumbling old clothes, Wando detects a hard object sewn into the hem of the shirt. Cutting open the cloth, he reveals a golden ring of antique style. Wando holds the ring up and shows it to everyone. It is without a doubt, the lost wedding ring of the ghost.
All right, let's take this ring back to the ghost. If this doesn't put its soul to rest, we will have to run away.
When you arrive back at the bridge, the air grows thick and chilled. The same fading tattered ghost with dripping crimson ichor appears. Marta says something under her breath in an unknown language, then flees the bridge terrified, screaming in the night. Anastriana appears from the shadows near the bridge's peripheral from your lantern's light. Still standing there, she smiles in anticipation of what you will do next.
I'm going to begin walking towards the ghost slowly. I'm going to reveal the ring and hold my hand outstretched. My palm will face up as if returning the ring.
The ghost approaches Cloris and Wando. The ghost's hand touches Cloris. The chill of icy air envelops your hand momentarily. Suddenly, the icy feeling is replaced by a warmth. The ring disappears from your hand and into the ghost's possession. His face is seen more clear now and is transformed by a beatific smile. He bows his head to the group, then holds the ring to his heart and walks out of MoonRicket Bridge, following the road. Anastriana and Marta begin to slowly follow the ghost from a short distance. You follow Anastriana and the ghost on the road. The ghost walks for a few miles down the winding mountain road. The trees crowd the road, but seem more like watchful sentinels than oppressive lurkers. The moon shines on it, turning it into a ribbon of silver in the dark mountain night. Eventually, the spirit reaches an old cabin by the side of the road. The roof has collapsed, the front door fallen in, and Kudzu is slowly reclaiming the structure. The ghost walks past the ruin without stopping, taking a narrow trail that leads behind the cabin and ends in a small family graveyard 20 yards beyond. In the cemetery, next to a worn stone marker, stands another ghostly figure. This second spirit is of an elderly woman dressed in a colorless homemade dress. Her hair is thin and her face is wrinkled by a lifetime of sorrow. Anastriana and the woman's ghost make eye contact, and both shed a tear. The old woman's ghost says in a soft enchanting voice on the breeze, "Thank you." Anastriana begins to cry. Otherwise, the woman's ghost seems oblivious to her surroundings. As the traveler's ghost steps into the graveyard, the woman's spirit looks up and gazes upon him, a look of shocked wonder on her face. The traveler gets down on bended knee, his mouth moving in unheard words. He extends his hand, displaying the ring to her, and she is suddenly no longer an old woman. Instead, the woman's form has become that of a carefree young woman in her late teens with a coronet of woven wildflowers on her brow. She clasps the traveler's hand, lifting him to his feet before embracing him. Glistening, spectral tears stream down both their faces. The two ghosts stare into each other's eyes for a moment longer before they both turn to the group. They stand together, holding hands and waving farewell at the party. The specters fade away and there is the soft sound of a heavy ring falling onto the dried grass that carpets the graveyard. Each PC gains 1 luck point for reuniting the lovers. A quick search of the graveyard discovers the dropped wedding ring, left behind by the departed ghosts. You now possess the lost wedding ring. No ghost is ever seen on MoonRicket Bridge again. But some say young lovers walking the road nearby at night sometimes see warm, welcoming lights burning in the ruined cabin and hear the sound of laughter drifting in the night air. But that's another mountain tale.